Hello, everyone. My name is Billy Roberts, District Governor-elect from District 7950, and I am your host for this evening. Welcome to day one of the first virtual Northeast Pets training seminar. We are so happy that today we have with us so many Rotarians from across the 8 districts, including past district governors, whose presence is symbolic of your support for the class of 21-22. For this, we are grateful. A few technical instructions. This program tonight is a webinar format. Your best view is to place the view feature in the speaker side-by-side mode. This will allow you to see clearly the speaker and any visuals that might be shown. The chat feature will not be active during the plenary sessions tonight. This is a constraint of the format we are using tonight for tonight's program. This will change for the programs to come, and you will be informed at that time. Please note, all general or plenary sessions will be recorded, and the recording will be posted to the Northeast Pets website by March 29th. Our district governor-elect class, with the help of our co-chairs, past District Governor Kate Sims and past District Governor Larry Bars, and an amazing cadre of supporters who serve on the Northeast Pets Committee, has been hard at work developing this PETS program over many months. And we are so happy to finally welcome you and hope you enjoy it. You will hear from each district governor-elect in a few minutes. But before you do, I must take this moment to celebrate an extraordinary group of leaders. You know, it was a year ago during PETS when the first inkling of the pandemic presented itself. None of us had any idea what was ahead of us. From that moment, this DGE class has been working and reimagining to make this Northeast Pets experience one that will uplift and inspire you. It is for you, the president-elects and the assistant governors, that we have toiled. Each and every member of this team has contributed mightily, even sacrificially, to this effort. And I want you to know how amazing they are. It is an honor to count each one of them as a friend and to express my humble appreciation for their work and for their attitude of service. We especially want to call attention to Kate Sims and to Larry Bars, who walked with us each step of the way, always with the intention to support our vision. And I would be remiss if I didn't call attention to our champion executive, our secretary, Joanne Alfieri, who has been a constant force and strength over the many months we worked and worked and worked. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Larry. And thank you, Joanne. The theme chosen by President-elect Carmetta for our year is Serve to Change Lives. And Northeast Pets is designed to assist each of us as we step forward, rising to the challenge. So welcome to each and every one of you. We begin with this song, providing the inspiration for our program.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I with you. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. You, we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise, oh, we'll rise.
We chose this song with the hope that you too will be inspired by it. We face many challenges ahead, but within each challenge is an opportunity to demonstrate the vibrancy of our organization, the flexibility of our strategies, and the resilience of our members. We will continue to demonstrate our central aim, and that is service above self. Rotary is alive and well, and we are all here. Rotarians, Rotaractors, alumni, and family of Rotary, all joining together to confirm this and to carry into the future the value and beauty of Rotary in the world. And now I'm happy to introduce you to my colleagues, the district governors-elect class of 2021 to 2022, to share their hopes and vision for this Northeast Pets experience. First, from District 7780, Dick Hall.
Thank you, Billy. Welcome, presidents-elect, co-presidents-elect, future presidents-elect, assistant governors, and all the Rotarians from the 8 districts who have joined us tonight. I hope that the next 6 days of Pets will be inspirational for you and will provide you what you need to make your club stronger. I know you will enjoy hearing from our Rotary leaders tonight. Billy?
Thank you, Dick. And now from District 7850, Michael Carrier. Michael? Mike Carrier, are you there?
I think I'm here, Billy. When I thought about all we've gone through in confronting the challenges each new day brings to us during this unprecedented pandemic, my hope for Northeast Pets has been that we'll increase our awareness of just how connected we are as Rotarians and the strength that gives us to dream big in meeting the needs of a rapidly changing world. So let this be a time to make discoveries about yourself and what resources are available to you as you rise to meet whatever challenges come your way, and in the process, change lives for the better. Billy?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. And next from District 7870, John Siemienowicz. John?
Thank you, Billy. Welcome to all. There has been many unexpected hardships for all of us as a result of COVID. However, my DGE class are the proverbial bundle of sticks. That is, as a result of being together, we're an impossible group to break. We have spent many months together along with the Northeast Pets team and adapted to this new learning platform. As a result, we are confident we will bundle you all the same way to be those unbreakable sticks in your Rotary districts. We hope you all enjoy and grow from the journey. we will be taking together through participation, experiences, and inspiration. So let's get ready to serve to change lives. Back to you, my friend Billy.
Thanks, John Bob. Thanks. And now please welcome from District 7890, Joanne Alfieri. Joanne.
Thank you, Billy. Did someone say rise to the challenge? We never dreamed when we met in Framingham in 2019 what a challenge we would face. But we are Rotarians and we let nothing stand in our way. Along with my colleagues, I welcome you all to Northeast Pets. We hope that you will enjoy the series of robust speakers we have selected and the program we have assembled to inspire you. Our esteemed speakers will bring the latest information on various topics that will be key in your year as president. Our assistant governors will be given an opportunity to speak directly with the experts. And don't let me forget, hasn't the music been wonderful? Haven't the videos been great? There's more to come. We are so happy that you were able to join us tonight.
Thank you, Joanne. And now from District 7910, that's Cliff Robert. Cliff?
Thanks, Billy. Good evening and welcome. This past year has been like no other that any of us have endured or prepared for. We are in a virtual world and our training is following that lead. We have speakers and breakout sessions for you to improve your knowledge and grow as leaders. This is also a time to make some new connections. No, not in person, but virtually, until the world opens up at least. They are your classmates. Use these new contacts that you meet in the breakout sessions to grow as a leader. We have high hopes that after attending this year's Northeast Pets, you have better understanding and preparation for your year as president. Back to you, Billy.
Thanks, Cliff. And now from District 7930, Terry Curran. Terry, are you there?
I'm here, Billy. Thank you, and welcome all from District 7930. I want to let you know all the fun things you can experience at Northeast Pets this year. On both Saturday evenings, join us for a virtual cocktail lounge and roam between the districts, just like you did in person in Framingham. On Friday night, March 19, join us for a virtual trivia night after the main session. And don't forget, you can visit the House of Friendship anytime and maybe join a fellowship or just find a new project. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks, Terry. We're having a little technical problem. We didn't get a chance to see you, but we will later. Thanks, Terry. So now from District 7980, Jeff Kraus. Jeff, are you there?
Thank you, Billy. It's good to be with you. Good evening, Presidents-elect and fellow Rotarians. It is my hope that this class of presidents will embrace our theme of rising to the challenge. In rising to the challenge, it is important to understand the reach and impact this dynamic organization has both locally and a global scale. Having personally experienced Rotary's global impact by participating in the Gift of Life program, a program that provides life-saving heart surgery to children, has helped me realize the impact Rotary has for families and children around the world. Therefore, it is our hope that our presidents and fellow Rotarians accept the call of rising to the challenge, and along with RI President-elect Shaker's theme, serve to change lives, you will be moved to positively impact your community and the larger global community as well. It is what Rotarians do. Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Jeff. And thank you again to each member of our class. Friends, we have a precious opportunity tonight to hear from key leaders of our Rotary International Organization. The title for this first evening is Rising to the Challenge of Leadership. It is a joy to welcome our first speaker, Valerie Wafer, past district governor, who serves as a member of the Rotary International Board of Directors representing zones 28 and 32. A successful businesswoman, Valerie had a 27-year career as a restaurant owner in Toronto. The brand Tim Hortons is probably the most recognized and iconic franchise in Canada. The Wafer's operation was best known for its inclusive hiring practices and accessibility, especially in the area of employment. She served as past district governor for District 7070, covering the Greater Toronto area in Canada in 2013 to 2014. In addition to her role as a member of the Rotary International Board of Directors, she also serves as the chair of the Rotary International Task Force on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Under her leadership, Rotary is learning and making huge strides in the implementation of the major goal to ensure our organization is welcoming and inclusive of all. Recently, she was named by RI President-elect Carmetta as RI Vice President-elect to serve with him in the year ahead. Congratulations, Val. Please join me in welcoming Valerie Wafer from the Rotary Club of Collingwood, South Georgian Bay in District 7010, who is with us virtually, I think from Toronto. Valerie, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Billy. Hello, President-elects, assistant governors, current and past incoming leaders of the 8 districts here tonight. And thank you, Northeast Pets Chair and Vice Chair Kate and Larry, for inviting me to be with you tonight. And again, thank you for that kind introduction, District Governor-elect Billy. It is a real pleasure to be with you. Congratulations to each of you as you prepare to lead your clubs and districts. And tonight I was asked to speak to the presidents-elect about rising to the challenge of leadership. That's our theme. And I want to take a moment here just to pause and congratulate the current district governors, the current district leadership team, and the current club presidents, all of you. Because when we speak about rising to the challenge of leadership, this 2020 Rotary year, this year of COVID-19, this year of having to pivot to keep our members engaged, motivated, and connected, I think we should actually take a group shot, seriously, of everyone on this, this call tonight, because you should be on the cover of the book that's going to be written in our organization's history books. Not only have you managed, you have excelled. We've inducted new members, we've charted new Rotary and Rotaract clubs, and provided community service to those who are isolated and vulnerable. All the same time, setting the stage for our incoming leaders and working in alignment with them. So thank you. This is a diverse group, but the one thing we all have in common is that on July 1st, we will all begin a new Rotary year, and each of you will be president of your club. And Rotary International President-elect Carmetta has inspired us with a brand new theme: to serve, to change lives. Being president of a Rotary Club is honestly the best job ever. I joined Rotary in 2005, and I joined the Rotary Club of Whitby, which is near Toronto. And I remember it was August, and the president-elect was looking for members to serve on the board. And he approached me. And my immediate reaction was, no way, I just want to be a member. I'm not interested in leadership. Because you remember what it was like to be a new member. I mean, think about it. The acronyms we use in Rotary take at least 5 years to learn. I remember being in a complete fog for a long time, not to mention being able to understand and appreciate the power of the Rotary Foundation, or history in the eradication of polio, or even what a district was. I certainly didn't know what a district or a zone was, or which one we were part of at the time. But after a few more taps on the shoulder, I said yes. And before I knew it, I was the president of my Rotary Club in 2008, 2009, 3 years after joining Rotary. And our theme that year was Make Dreams Real. And our RI president was DK Lee from Korea. And actually, this is the first time I've reflected back on that theme for a long time. And never in my wildest imagination or dream would I be able to look forward 13 years from that first leadership role as club president to the role now as director on the board of Rotary International. This is the beauty of Rotary, and honestly, it's the beauty and the opportunities that are available to us in this organization. As Billy mentioned in my introduction, in my professional career, I spent 27 years as a Tim Horton franchisee, and my background before that was in corporate finance. I ran a business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a team of over 250 employees. But I can tell you that I have learned more about leadership in Rotary than I ever did in business. It's so much different to lead volunteers and keep them engaged when there's no monetary paycheck at the end of the work week. And just like in our own business, our Rotary team comes in all shapes and sizes. There are those who put their hand up for every chair position and every committee lead and every service project. And then there are those members that, until they're asked, never saw themselves as leaders. And this is the category that I fit in when I first joined Rotary. So I thought I would share a few tips completely from my learned experience. And I wasn't kidding when I said being the president of your club is the best job ever. Because if I could be the president of the Rotary Club of Whitby again, my current self would love to help out my old self with all the things that I've learned since then. So here are my tips. First of all, have goals, but be flexible. This year has shown us what real life events can throw our way. And I know there's been disappointment. Club and district events that had to go virtual, a new way of fundraising, this president-elect training online, although not planned or not coming to fruition as maybe envisioned when you all took your roles. I know the leaders in the 8 districts will tell you that they have had an incredible year. I have visited many of your clubs online in this last year, and we are seeing club members that weren't able to attend our meetings. We're seeing each other more often, and we're learning skills we never thought were possible. This year has taught us a lot of things. How to listen, how to be kind, how to reflect on what's important in our lives and in the lives of others. So have goals, but be flexible. Second, my favorite personal and leadership quote, or my personal mantra, is to be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. There are 7.8 billion people on this planet, only one of you. So be you. This was a lesson I came to realize the year I was club president. As a fairly new Rotarian, I was nervous. I felt I had to be the expert on subjects and be able to answer every question that came my way. I wasn't used to being in front of the room, running meetings, thanking speakers, inducting new members, and giving speeches at fundraisers or celebrations. And then I realized you are chosen to be president because of you. So don't change. Be yourself. Have fun, mess up. Believe me, I do it all the time. Be your true, authentic self and be genuine. Honestly, I remind myself of this every time I'm in doubt. Your voice, your personal perspective and life experience brings innovative and alternate thought process and contributions. And you know what? Radiate positive energy, because positive energy and passion are infectious. And don't be afraid to throw out big, audacious ideas or new concepts. Be confident, because a self-confident leader makes others around them feel significant. So I told you to be yourself, and this translates also to our members. And I want to share a story with you. I was speaking to a large club in our zone recently, and I touched on diversity, equity, and inclusion during the meeting, because that seems to be the hat I'm wearing quite often these days. And I was asked to stick around after the meeting to continue the conversation and answer a few questions. And after a few minutes, a Rotarian, who's a person of color, spoke up. And he shared with us a personal and impactful message. After 15 years of being a Rotarian in this club, with his fellow members, his Rotary family, he has never felt 100% accepted. And he never felt that he could express his concerns or feelings. He saw many other potential Black members join, only to leave in the first couple of years. This inclusion conversation that we're having today in our clubs and in our districts gave him the courage to speak up. Now, this isn't just a powerful story. It's exactly how the culture of belonging begins. So be yourself, but let others show up as their true, authentic self as well. Create that safe space where members feel they can walk through the door and feel truly included for who they are and be able to say, I belong. My third piece of advice or tip: you will each make a difference in your year as president because you have the support of your team. So don't struggle during your year with skills that don't come naturally. And you always seem to put those jobs off because it's not in your toolbox. It's not your natural skills. So capitalize on what you're good at and empower your team to utilize their skills in the other areas. Many of you are leaders. So you already know that one of the most difficult transitions that you will probably face next year will be to shift from doing to leading. But your responsibility will be to lead your club. We're all guilty of trying to accomplish too much. I think Rotary is full of A-types. I used to say I wasn't an A-type, but I have embraced it now. Being a club president will be the highlight of your Rotary career. Don't resent it by taking on too much. And it goes back to my first tip: have goals, but be flexible. And delegate, trust your team. My fourth tip: this year has given us a new way of doing Rotary. I hope you consider some of the positives and incorporate them into your year as president, and that you work with your president-elect and members to make it a permanent shift. This is the time to ask, and I say ask in capital letters. Ask your members what they want from their Rotary experience. Everyone wants to be heard or asked, and this is the perfect time to do this. I like to speak about the blank white paper exercise. Ask your members to design their optimum Rotary experience. And notice I didn't say Rotary Club, but rather their Rotary experience. And don't worry about the rules. Don't worry about governance. Just ask them to make dreams real. See what I just did with that? That theme for my president here, it's the gift that keeps on giving. We began to speak of new club models years ago. Passport clubs, satellite clubs, e-clubs, clubs with a specific focus. Today, during this pandemic in North America, we are inducting new members. We are chartering new innovative clubs, and we have put diversity, equity, inclusion in our everyday conversations with a commitment and an intention. A leader is a change maker, and President-elect Shaker calls you his change maker presidents and change maker district governors. Be a change maker. A favorite Rotary book of mine is written by past Rotary International President Cliff Docterman, and it's titled, As I Was Saying. Now, Cliff is a great storyteller, and he has spoken to hundreds of PETS assemblies. And I really encourage you to Google and find some of his PET assembly speeches because they're so inspirational and yet so humorous. Anyways, I mentioned this book, and I found that book recently, and I glanced at the table of contents one day for inspiration. And I found a speech titled, Thinking of Our Future, which Cliff delivered at the 1993 Melbourne Convention, 28 years ago. Thinking of Our Future was the title. So I was curious in 2021 to read what Cliff thought our future looked like in 1993. In his address, he asked the attendees challenging questions. And some of his questions were, Are your members more concerned about preserving its past rather than planning for the future? What are we doing to make Rotary more attractive to young business and professional leaders? And he also asked, what will happen to clubs that fail to realize that some of the most qualified professional executives in their community are women? 28 years ago. And in 2021, we are asking some of the same questions. So I think Shaker's challenge to you to be a change maker is a very apt ask and a very great goal. This is such an exciting time to be a Rotary Club president. We are a bottom-up organization, and a change in culture happens with you, the club president, your leadership, and your club members. Now, President-elect Shaker is here with us tonight. He's speaking after I am here. And I've heard him say, and he might repeat it tonight, that you have more influence in our organization than he does as president of Rotary International. It's your time to lead. And as a leader, it's your time to tap someone on the shoulder, mentor them, include them on your leadership team. You will leave your Rotary Club a little stronger on June 30th, 2022. And I know that your district governor-elect and your district leadership team is there to support you. And know that you have my support at any time. So good luck. You're going to be great. Thank you.
Valerie, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation and especially those tips. So I hope we will remember those things. I think the insight you provided will continue to inspire us as we all prepare to serve. Thank you so much for being our zone director. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
As a token, Valerie, of our appreciation, we will be sending you a gift box of maple products that come from Quebec and also the various states covered by our districts. We hope you'll enjoy them. Thank you again. And now, friends, we will welcome our next speaker. We are honored to welcome our Rotary International President-elect, Carmetta. Shekhar will be the fourth person from India to serve as president of Rotary International. His long and distinguished career of service is impressive. A member of Rotary since 1985, he has served in influential roles both in India as well as internationally. He was district governor from 1999 to 2000, and then as a member of the board of directors representing his zone from 2011 to 2013. Between then and now, the list of self-sacrificing activities he has led and contributed to is enormous. He has been the chairman of Joint Partnership Committee of Rotary International, the Strategic Planning Committee of Rotary International, Rotary India Literacy Mission, Rotary Foundation of India, Rotary India Centennial Celebrations, Rotary India Humanities Foundation. But the list is too lengthy to mention here. It just goes on and on. An accountant by training, he is the chair and founder of the real estate development company, Skyline Group, engaged in real estate development in different parts of India, including the largest group housing in the state of Rajasthan. His influence is far-reaching. President-elect Carmetta has served and served, and for this example, we are grateful. Please join me in welcoming President-elect Carmetta, a member of the Rotary Club of Calcutta, Mahanga, who is with us virtually from Calcutta. Shekhar, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to each and every one of you from a very early morning in Kolkata, India. What a pleasure it is to be with all of you, 627 of you. Although this is not the best way I would have liked to meet each and every one of you. Today, I should have been with you in your city, shaking hands with you, meeting you, giving you warm hugs, and maybe having some coffee with you, having a short chat with you. But that's what the world is today, and this is what the best means is. But this is exciting too. Just 1 hour later, I will be in Philippines. Last evening, I was in UK, and now I'm speaking to people from America. 8 districts. To all the district governors elect, my dear change maker governors and change maker presidents, I wish you a great year ahead. The forthcoming 16 months are going to be the most exciting months that you have had in Rotary, I can tell you. I experienced it 31 years back when Rashi and I started on this journey of being the president of my Rotary Club. Even today, when I look back, one of the most satisfying jobs one can do is be the president of their own club. And I mean it. You look up the March Rotary magazine and you'll see in my interview, they asked me, what would be your preference, president of Rotary International or president of your Rotary Club? And I said, president of my Rotary Club. Friends, this is where you will have this great opportunity of serving hands-on, on leading some people to do some real meaningful work, inspiring them, motivating them, getting to do the job that will take our organization, and asking each of these people to grow more and do more. And that's what we will do in the forthcoming year. We will grow more as in having more and more Rotary clubs, more members, and we will do more as doing bigger, better, and bolder projects. So I must compliment Valerie for those excellent tips that she gave. She is quite a capable person. No wonder she is the incoming vice president of Rotary International. Coming back to leadership, and that's the flavor of the day today. I'm going to share some of the thoughts on leadership. Each person is a different sort of a leader. So what I'm going to share with you are some of the things that I've experienced and I believe are very essential for being volunteer leaders. So the first thing I would ask you to do is dream big. For an organization that is 116 years old, which has a footprint in more countries than even United Nations has. And for an organization which has the legacy of nearly eradicating a disease, and we are this close to doing that. In the history of mankind, we have done that just once more when we removed smallpox. But here it's an NGO. It's Rotary that has taken the lead around the world and worked 35 years for one single corporate program and ensured that more than 19 million children today are walking. They are not paralyzed and they are living because you and I made an effort to eradicate polio from the face of earth. So for an organization which is so large, so old, and with such rich legacy, I think our dreams of doing good in this world have to be really big. Have big dreams. If you can dream it, you can do it. So how about dreaming 1.3 million members instead of the 1.2 million that we've had for 20 years? But you may say that's an awfully big dream. Well, if I ask you to dream big, I need to start with myself. I've always been inspired by what George Bernard Shaw said. He says, you see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Why not 1.3 million? Can the 1.2 million of us not take our membership to 1.3 million? It is possible. Crazy thought? Yes. What we couldn't do in last so many years, we expected to do in so many months. Well, I'm inspired by the fact that the polio vaccine took 28 years to make. The Ebola vaccine took 4 years to make. But the COVID vaccine was made in just 9 months' time. what wasn't possible earlier is possible today. So let's try and do that by a simple act, and that is each one bring one. I challenge each one of you, cajole, request each one of you to get just one member before 30th June 2022. Excuse me. Friends, it's as simple as that. Getting just one member. I'm sure each and every one of you can. I cannot see the 623 of you, but I would request you to raise your hand if you are ready to get one member into Rotary before 30th June 2022. I will, and I will get it on the 1st of July itself, if not before that again. Friends, I cannot see you. Normally, I would have taken pictures. I have takers. I have taken pictures of hundreds. In fact, I have pictures of thousands of Rotarians saying, yes, I will. I've asked this question to more than 25,000 people from across the world, whether it was Australia, South America, Africa, Asia, USA, UK. And, you know, the answer, overwhelming answer has been, yes, I will. So big dreams are possible. But dreaming just won't help. We have to chisel the dreams with vision. And to me, vision is something that I see where others cannot, where you see where others cannot. Some of the examples of vision, well, if you sat under a tree and an apple fell, if you just picked up the apple, polished and ate it up, that's one way of looking at things. The other is you try to see far beyond and you become a Newton, trying to understand what the law of gravity is. Why did this fall there? So that's the vision, where you see beyond what others can. And by that example, one of the guys I really rate as a man with great vision is Walt Disney. Look what he's created, an entire empire out of just a mouse, a little mouse. So friends, big dreams, and with vision, let's chisel those dreams and come up with plans and goals. Well planned is half done, they say, and setting goals is so very important. For if we don't set goals, we don't know where we are going. I always give this example. The World Cup football is going on, soccer is going on. It's Brazil versus Argentina. 10 people from this side are trying to dribble the ball across Brazilians and take it to the goal on that other side. And the other 10 are trying to block that and take it back to the Argentinian side. The whole world is watching. More than 1 billion people glued to their television sets. And suddenly, Billy Roberts and Valerie Wafer go and remove the 2 goals, the 2 goal posts. Now imagine what happens of that match. Nothing. 22 people, they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. Why? Because they have no goals. So friends, goals are extremely important. And these have to be measurable goals. They have to be within a time frame. For me to say we will make India totally literate is not a goal. But for us to say that we will make India literate, totally literate by 2026, that is a goal. Goals have to be a bit of a stretch goal. As I said, big dreams. Your goals have to be big enough that you may not even be able to complete them during the year. Fine, doesn't make a difference. Large goals cannot get completed. Big dreams cannot be fulfilled in just 1 year's time. Polio eradication, our dream was we'll do it by the turn of the century. But we've already taken 21 years more. But I say that's not important. The fact that we are doing such a big job, unthinkable for any other NGO. If it takes a little more time, that's not important. But the fact is that you have ventured upon something which is really big and meaningful for this world. And friends, when I say this, I tell you by experience. I feel Rotary's role now has to be such that it has a role in the nation building process. We are doing it back in India, and I'm sure it can be done at other places. I've seen this happening in Haiti. Rotary has got together with the hand wash program and is trying to change the water system of that country itself. And then back home in India, we're trying to bring technology into the education system along with the government of India, and Rotary is its partner. By 2027, we are saying that in the 74th year of our independence, in the next 74 months, we will try and make India totally literate. And friends, all of this is possible if we are ready to plan, set goals, and thereafter delegate and communicate. And that's what you would need to do. You will have so many members in your club, delegate the work. Engaging Rotarians is one of the best things that you will be able to do as a president. Motivate them by communicating regularly with them. When I was becoming the district governor, somebody told me a very nice thing. He said, the role of the district governor is to lubricate the ego of every club president. How about taking it to the club level? The role of the club president is to lubricate the ego of every club member. A bit of a tap on the shoulder, as Valerie said, convince that person, delegate responsibility, and acknowledge, motivate that person for doing a good job. I've experienced this. I joined Rotary, and just in 2 months' time, I was asked to do a fundraiser. I had no clue about what to do with it. But I accepted because somebody again tapped on my shoulder and said, yes, please do it. And I said, okay, if I'm a volunteer, I cannot say no, I will say yes. And I said yes. In 3 months' time, this became a huge success. Not because of me, because of the teamwork. Everybody contributed and it became a big success. And they said, wow, Shekhar, well done. Well, I hardly did anything, but here they were complimenting me for doing something. And that motivates you. That leads you to another position, another job, another dream, another fulfillment. And don't worry about failures. You know, some of the biggest stories for success have been written with failure. So whether it was Thomas Edison, or you want to see one of the biggest failures, just go Google Abraham Lincoln. Failures of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, that man nearly failed in everything he tried to do. But look at the success of that person. So failure is in not trying, not necessarily in not succeeding. I would rather have 10 big dreams and fail in 4 of them than somebody who had 2 dreams and fulfilled both of them. Here we are trying to serve people, trying to help people. It's not a percentage game. We need to help as many more people as we can. So don't worry about failures. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are meant for. You need to take risks. You need to go into high seas. Life is about adventure and not just maintenance, my friends. It is absolutely possible to do big things. So let's grow more by each one bringing one, and let us do programs and projects that are going to really leave an impact where we will be able to serve to change lives. Let me end with this quote that I had written for the first time. I'm not a poet, but I did write one at the International Assembly where I was speaking about the theme. And Billy, you will be able to probably remember these lines. The biggest gift we are given is the power to touch a life, to change, to make a difference in the circle of life. If we can reach out with our hand, heart, and soul, the magic will begin to happen as the wheel begins to roll. Let's turn the wheel together so all humanity thrives. We have the power and the magic to serve, to change lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shekhar. Thank you very much. I wonder if you have a minute for a couple of questions. Is that all right?
Sure, sure.
Well, you've been
It's
talking.
part of the deal.
Yes, that's right. You've been talking a lot about growth and about dreaming big. One of the things that we noticed at the International Assembly, which we really were so inspired by you, was that in India, Rotaract is very vibrant. And I just wondered if you could share what ideas you have to offer from the experience in India with how Rotaract is growing and evolving?
Yes, India has more than 52% of the total road tractors around the world.
Yeah.
And it's thriving. They're doing very well. We have a good rate of conversion from Rotaract to Rotary. And probably the same is the case whether it's Rotaractors or Rotarians. They're growing in this part of the world because of two reasons. One is they find great opportunity of being able to give back to the community from where they've taken so much. The needs are abundant here. There is so much need. And the other part is that the Rotarians and the Rotaractors are very proactive trying to fulfill those needs. The moment you do that, you find a meaning in Rotary. You find a reason to be there. You know what a great joy it is when you find that because of your initiative, there are 500 people who, because of the eye hospital that your club has started, in 1 year, 500 people are able to see again only because you started that project. That's so there is a need and you fulfill those needs, and the same with Rotaractors and Rotarians. And now the Rotarians and Rotaractors are working very well together. It's no more that the Rotaractors are just their hand and feet on the ground. No, they are also the mind. And I think it's better that we understand this faster. Let me also tell you, Billy, their minds are at times more sharper than ours. They are tech savvy, they are smart, they are young, they are energetic, passionate. Let's leverage that for their good and the good of the community.
Thank you, thank you. Now, there's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that is that, can you share a little bit more with us about Rotary Days of Service and what you hope we will achieve?
So the idea for Rotary Days of Service was twofold: inspiring every Rotary Club to engage Rotarians, engage their club members, interact with other clubs so that each club member gets a view of how other clubs act and behave and function. So the idea for Rotary Days of Service is that you have to have two clubs to organize it at least. It could be Rotary, Rotaract, 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 or Rotary Interact, any combination, and showcase a project, not just to ourselves, but to the outside world. We are very good at telling stories, Billy, but we are very good at telling it to ourselves. We need to start telling our story to the outside world. It's so very important. So let's do projects at the local level, or maybe a seminar where we showcase, or a meeting where we invite at least 30% of the people attending are non-Rotarians, and we showcase the work that we do, and we make a bit of a buzz on social media about that. So that is precisely what we expect. So maybe on International Women's Day, we have programs and projects that are for empowering girls, which is the overarching theme for the next year. Or maybe on World Literacy Day, we do projects around the world showcasing the work that Rotary does in basic education and literacy. So on and so forth.
Thank you, thank you. It's a very new and exciting prospect. Now, the last question I want to ask is, you just mentioned it, your emphasis and focus on initiatives that serve women and girls is wonderful. Would you like to talk a little bit more about the importance of this in the world today?
Sure. It's unfortunate that even in today's time and age, there is discrimination and disadvantage for the women, for the girl. And it's in every part of the world. So when I went around asking what is the one focus that we would want, I asked the incoming governors, the incoming board of directors, and we all came to the conclusion that it should be empowering girls. There is so much that can be done. Even today, there are millions of girls who drop out of school even before they reach class 10. There are millions and millions of them who are facing discrimination, who are facing abuse. There are millions who need help as far as menstrual hygiene management is concerned. There are millions who need help as far as their nutrition is concerned. These are some of the needs that they have, some of the areas where they need help, and we can come forward and do some of these projects. So maybe take care of their nutrition issues. How about providing scholarships to girls in comparison to boys? Yes, help the boys, but how about a little greater focus on girls so that they do not drop out of school? How about providing them motivational things which will help them and motivate to continue their education? Things like providing simple things like solar lamps, because even now there are tens of thousands of houses where there is no electricity in the evening. How about providing bicycles? These are projects which have worked wonders in South Asia. Providing a bicycle to a girl to be able to commute, to be able to go to the school and come back, all this helps. How about asking them to use reusable sanitary nap pads instead of the normal ones? Eco-friendly, good for health, and costs only $3 for 2 years. $3 is all you need to spend for a pack of 5, which are reusable, approved by UNICEF and WHO. There is so much. Each different place will have its own issue, own need for helping as far as empowering girls is concerned.
Thank you so much. But one more question, and that is, can you, the emphasis on growth, this each one bring one is this year is obvious. And we in the Northeastern United States are aware of the challenges. How can successful strategies from other parts of the world be shared for the benefit of everyone?
So this is for each one bring one, are you saying?
Yes, yes.
So Billy, you know, the problem is membership growth. Problem is not each one bring one. But if you take care of each one bring one, the problem of membership growth will get resolved. Membership is not a collective goal. Billy, it's your responsibility, is Steve Albright's responsibility, Randall's responsibility, Joanne, Jeff, Cliff, Dick, Louisa, Valerie, Shaker, Victor, everyone's responsibility. Each and every one of us is happy to be at this meeting, nearly 600 of us, because we love Rotary. Somebody introduced us, gave us this gift. It's time we give it again. And if I've given it earlier, why not give this gift once more? We need to give more than what we take. So if we did that, I can assure you, you see, I've gone across the world and asked this question. I've rarely come across a person who said, I will not be able to get even one person in the next 1 year. So it's left to you, Billy, and the 7 other district governors who are governors-elect who are here. If you could take this message, and through all the presidents, I believe there will be a few hundred presidents here, more than 400, I can understand. If each of them went back to their clubs, asked their club members, who is going to get one member? I assure you the result is going to be outstanding, absolutely. But there is one clause. We need to follow that up. Each of these people who have raised their hands now or will do so in future, we need to follow up with that person. Remember, you had raised your hand. Now is the time to do it. And I assure you, we will touch 1.3 million.
Thank you so much. So I want you to see that I'm raising my hand as one of those who will join you.
And I tell you, Billy, you will rarely come across someone, as long as you are ready to ask. If you are ready to ask, not just your friends, but all your club presidents, the club presidents in turn to all their club members, the result is going to be magical, I can tell you.
You may see on the participants all are raising their hands virtually. They want you to know we're with you.
So that's the answer, Billy. And I've seen this across the world. So 1 year later, it will be you who will be telling how membership needs to grow. I am not ready to accept that membership is falling in America or membership is falling in UK or Australia. No, there are friends that you can bring to Rotary and you will, I know.
Thank you for an incredible presentation. Well, you know, we're so happy to have you with us today, and we're so happy to join you as members of your class together as we serve to change lives. We want you to know, Chika, we are with you, President Chika. We're with you. Thank you
so
for
much.
your enthusiasm, for your insight, and your dedication, all of which are truly inspirational, really. So President-elect Carmetta, we salute you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I salute each and every one of you. Namaste. Fir milenge. Till we meet again, and this time hopefully in person.
Thank you so much. We'll be sending you a token as a token of our appreciation, a gift box of maple products that come from our region, and we hope you'll enjoy them. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you. Deeply appreciate my gift you've already given by telling me everyone is raising their hand.
Thank you. Thank
One
you very
following
much.
one. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. And now I'm pleased to invite you to a unique, gosh, let me just pause and say, weren't those presentations wonderful? Really just thrilling. We're so happy to have both Valerie and Jacob as our leaders in this year. And now I'm pleased to invite you to a unique presentation at Northeast Pets. The DGE class thought it would be a great treat to close this evening with an uplifting and entertaining program. Please join me in welcoming Anis Mojgani, who is the current Poet Laureate of the state of Oregon, a two-time individual champion of the National Poetry Slam and winner of the International World Cup Poetry Slam. Known for his performances and well-regarded for them the world over, Anis has performed at hundreds of universities across the US, festivals across the globe, such as the Sydney, Australia's Writers' Festival, or Jamaica's Calabash Festival, and Seoul, Korea's Young Writers' Festival. And for audiences as varied as the United Nations and the House of Blues. An author of 5 books of poetry, he recently published a book called Sanctuaries for Children. He hails originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, and he currently lives in Portland, Oregon, and he's a really close friend of mine. Welcome, Anis. Are you there?
I am. Thank you, Billy.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I am currently tucked away in an artist residency in Central Oregon amongst the trees and the mountains. And so I was worried that perhaps the internet would not allow me to participate live with y'all. They have me tucked away in this special kind of hotel type room for Zoom occasions away from my cabin, which does not get Zoom very well. So I'm really excited to get to be here, to get to share some of what I do with all of you. And without further ado, I will jump into such. The fisherman throws his nets. At night when he eats, he sits alone, his plate round as the moon. He lights one candle on the table and peels the skin of his fish with his fork and knife, peeling it back like a bedsheet. Most days he wakes before the sun. For the fish, they do not sleep long. Some nights, when he has been drinking heavily, he goes down to the rocks and he reads to the fish. He reads to them poems from books, poems about the human condition, poems about the muscles inside him that question and quiver and shiver and sleep, bottle in one hand, book in the other, books clutching poems like they were their mothers, too afraid to let their children out into the soft fear of the electric night, and he was the wild one to show them this world. His mother will never hold him like that again, he thinks. I am too big. Book in one hand, bottle in the other. He reads the poems out loud, spitting the words out like they were teeth he no longer needed, while the storms gather around him like a flock of ballooning corpses. He screams the poems like a drunk preacher cutting a rope. He slurs his screams, picking up poems like stones to fling at the foot of God's throne, hurling word after word after word, waiting for some door in some black cloud to open up. But nothing happens. The rain falls, the waves swing, the fish sleep, and awake and sleep and awake again and again in the rocking of the ocean. He stands above them like Noah, surrounded by bucket after overflowing bucket, and all he has left to catch this wet lightning is his open mouth. So he reads to them. He reads to them of things none of them will ever see, of flowers opening, of birds large as cliffs holding heroes between their silver wings, carrying these warriors into the open grace of the gods and into a mighty providence that this fisherman stands inside of, their shields and shoulders polished hard enough to blind the sun right back. He empties himself, and the waves, they swing. He goes home, falls into bed, sleeps all the next day. Night comes through his window like a fever, like a dream, like a mother holding him close. He wakes wet inside her arms, goes to his kitchen, lights his candle, cooks his audience, and peels back its skin like a bedsheet before crawling inside. And from somewhere in that space, the voices tumble towards him, calling, saying, "Come closer, come closer, come into this. You are quite the beauty. If no one has ever told you that before, know that right now. You are quite the beauty. There's joy in how your mouth dances with your teeth. Your smile is simply a sign of how sacred your life actually is. So step into it. Come closer. Come closer. Know that something softer than us, but just as holy, planted pieces of itself into our feet that we might one day dance our way back. Know that you are almost home. Come just a little bit closer. There are birds beating their wings beneath your breastplates, gentle sparrows that ache to sing. Come, aching hearts, come, soldiers of joy, doormen of truth. Know that my heart was too big for my body, so I let it go. And most days, this world thins me to where I'm just another cloud, forgetting another flock of swans, having shaved off so many of my corners that I felt at home only in the shape of a ball, bending myself so far backwards that the song of my mother believed I was returning home. But believe me when I tell you that somehow my soul still manages to squeeze itself into very narrow spaces. Place your hand beneath your head when you sleep tonight. Perhaps you will find it there, making beauty as we sleep, making beauty as we dream, making beauty as we turn over in the ground. When we turn over in the ground, may the ghosts that we have asked our answers of do that turning, kneading us into crumbs of light and into this thing called life. Come into it, come, you wooden museums, gentle tigers, little giants. I see teacups upside down, glowing across your grins. Your hearts are like my hands. Some days, all they do is tremble. I am like you. I am just like you. I too at times am filled with so much fear, but like a hallway, must find the strength to walk through it. Walk through this with me, through this church of blood, bone, and muscle that is ours. There's a doorknob that glows like chance before you. Grab it, turn, pull, step through, back straight, chin up, eyes open, hearts loud. Walk through this with me. Walk through this with me. Thank you. In this new world that we are living in, it still is such a strange shift to go from connecting in person with audiences to trying to find and discover a new form of intimacy that has definitely been created through situations like this that are not the same as before, but while it still feels strange, there's also, I think, a really lovely beauty to be able to communicate and connect and call out to one another wherever it is that we are, and to let one another into these kind of almost more intimate spaces. So it's even though it's still, after a year of doing this, very, very strange, it's also a gift. So thank you again for letting me share some of myself with all of you. We all wanted that high school sweetheart, wanting to be young in the 50s with meatloafs and sock hops and lawns so perfect they looked like Clark Gable was kissing them. We wanted maybe to be 13 and alive and meet someone who was 13 and alive and walk with them past the grandstands, to sit and hold hands with, to sit and kiss with, to sit and sit with, like it was something that you had missed, but that never was. We once wanted maybe to connect this country like Kerouac and thumb lines, to find passion expanding between the locking of limbs, bones, and eyes, with morning arriving to find you out on the road with your pockets empty except for your hands. But your hands, they'd be overflowing with your soul. But that's not what happened. We once climbed into bed, like between the bed sheets was a valley where dinosaurs still breathe. And how we would capture these triceratops and brontosauruses, but even he was opened up with the smoke that rose out of the homes and the corners that we once climbed through. The streets and the footballs which we once threw, the school desks upon which we once drew, the windows that sat open through which we once flew before the outside world of parking spaces and dead friends came flooding on in, and we forgot what we wanted and we became what we become. Waitresses and bartenders, city employees and temp positions, we are junkies and one-kiss poems, and we cry the stars as we write our scars onto dumpsters and electric boxes, because the only thing that we can hear is our hearts, and the only ones listening are the streets, the blood that breathes through the letters we leave when we dream to rise ourselves up out of these burning buildings, but instead we get buried somewhere beneath. Because I know my life is like some high school kid's notebook, that kid that shuffles back and forth between school and home, stacking the letters and the pictures too close for anyone outside of his own imagination to read, because it's through the ink that his heart beats, that his heart breathes. And we all just wanted to write these notes. Check if you like me. Check if you don't. Check if you'll date me. Check if you won't, because we all wanted the love songs to be true. And we did love dinosaurs once, and we wanted the stars to hold our hands, to lick the teeth, to love us. So let your smiles twist, like my heart dancing precariously on the edge of my fingertips, staining them like that same high school kid licking his thoughts using his Sharpie tip right in. I was here. I was here. And ain't none of y'all can write that in the spot that I just wrote it in. I am here breathing in, and you are there breathing out, and every breath we breathe brings me a second closer to the day that my mother may die. And every breath I take takes me a second further from the moment she caught my father's eye. And every word I carry is another stone to put into place in the foundation that I'm building to ease the days and erase something that I never saw. What all of us wanted and what none of us got, what we all had and have, what we all forgot, that we all wanted to be something, that we all became something. And it might not be the mess we thought to be when we were kids, but something is still something. And like some cats say, something's better than nothing. Feet are smarter than an engine, and dreams are stronger than thighs, and questions are the only answers we need to have to know that we are as alive as the time when I held the mind of a child, asking, why is 2 + 3 always equal to 5? Where do people go to when they die? What made the beauty of the moon and the beauty of the sea? Did that beauty make you? Did that beauty make me? Will it make me something? Am I something? Will I be something? And the answer comes, you already are. You always were. And you still have time to be. Some years ago, a friend of mine posted on their Facebook page a photograph of a lemon tree in a small pot seated on their kitchen windowsill, and it had this little caption on it that read, "See the lemon tree I grew from a seed, how big you've gotten." And my first thought was, oh, what a terribly sweet sentiment that is. And my next thought was, oh, what a terribly stupid sentiment that is. And began to chuckle and thinking about how so much in this life of ours, we are pushed and shaped to swing for the fences, to swing for the corners, to dance between that which we love and that which we hate, that which is sweet, that which is stupid. That which is quiet, that which is loud, and how more often than not, all those things get kind of mushed up into one ball in the middle. And so I wrote some poems. And this poem is called Today's Today's love is brought to you by the letter John Sands. And John Sands is a friend of mine who is a poet who lives in Brooklyn, originally from Ohio. And John Sands has this wonderful presence when he shares his poems. It fills me with this golden light and makes me feel as if I am suddenly imbued with the power to say, pay my rent by showing my landlord a brand new dance move, or by giving them a perfect arrangement of high fives. And so after I wrote this poem, it felt like it was a collection of words that was written under a John Sands tree. So today's love is brought to you by the letter John Sands. High five me with your heart. High thousand me with your hearts. I know you have many of them. We all love many things. I love biscuits. I love cheeseburgers. I love little pancakes. I've loved more than just things that I chew with my mouth. I did love my wife. Sometimes I would chew my wife's shoulder in my mouth. Sometimes my wife, she was annoyed by this, but still, sometimes my wife did love me back. Some things that I have loved will never love me back. Random racist upon the street, while your rhetoric may anger me, I still have love for you, though you probably will not love me back. Walrus, I love you. Though were I to be around you, you would probably gore me with your tusks. Perhaps this is not a good example, as the wild unknowing of wild creatures is not necessarily the same as not loving something back. Perhaps also because I actually do not love the walrus, but simply mention him here because there's a small figurine of a walrus on the coffee table as I write this poem. However, I do love the elephant. I love the elephant. However, he too would probably gore me with his tusks. Again, not out of unlove, but perhaps fear. I do not love fear, but I respect him and that he loves me, testing how well I carry the sword of my intent through the land of the midnight farm. The land of the midnight farm, it is a strange and scary place. There are perhaps serial killers and or possums lurking in its darkness. The serial killer may love me, but in no way that I wish to be loved. Their love may involve the removal of my skin and the wearing of it out to the club. The possum may love me, but I do not love the possum. In fact, I hate the possum solely because of how ugly I find the possum to be. And yes, I realize this is a very shallow reason to dislike something, so I'm trying, possum. I'm trying to not love you so much. Instead, possibly just be ambivalent to your existence. But oh, I want to hate you like I hate the thought of bee stings, black people, and beans. I put black people in there just to see if y'all are paying attention. I love black people. I love white people. Don't get me wrong. The only mother that I've ever had is black. The only wife that I've ever had is white, but damn if we humans are a trifling animal at times, but still I love you, you mountains of trifle and futility, of perseverance and lightness, of incessant rowing towards the sun even while facing it, wondering why there is no forward momentum. Turn around, look at my many hands, holding up my many hearts and a mini high-five salutation to you, Nina Simone, Paul Newman. So many things in this world I have loved. Rising with the sun, sleeping in late, little pancakes. And though they didn't turn around once when she got gone, my wife's shoulders. Sometimes I would go into the garden and lay down in the earth and pretend I was a carrot. Sometimes I would curl under the leaves and I became a head of lettuce. Sometimes I would bury my soft paws in the softer earth and I was a rabbit. Sometimes in the garden, I was a rock, was sometimes wishing I were 2 rocks, sometimes becoming 3 rocks. Sometimes in the garden as a rock, I was held cool and smooth in a palm or warmed by the sun. Sometimes I waited hundreds of years and it was only the wind that touched me. Sometimes I waited thousands of years and not even the wind could move me. Sometimes night would arrive with an enormous moon glowing like the orange skin of an orange-skinned woman in a more orange dress. And the night would use that moon to say to me, look, you are like how I am. And see how bright my body sometimes becomes. Sometimes I wait for spring. Always I am waiting for spring, and for my love to return like it, out of the cold and with flowers on their fingertips. Thank you. I have a few more poems for y'all. It's so funny to think about this year that we've been in, you know, arriving at the end of that last poem, thinking about at least where I'm at in the world. Spring is coming up from around the bend in the road, and everyone in my city and in my circle is just so ecstatic. You know, even though nothing really has yet changed, so to speak, just the presence of, I think, the world continuing to have us in it, something that for me, like every day, brings me a little bit closer to that point of warmth. So yeah, just a thought that popped into my head. This is for the fat girls. This is for the little brothers. This is for the schoolyard wimps and for the childhood bullies who tormented them. For the former prom queens and for the milk crate ball players. For the nighttime cereal eaters and for the retired elderly Walmart store front door greeters. Shake the dust. This is for the benches and the people sitting upon them. For the bus drivers driving a million broken hymns, for the men who have to hold down 3 jobs simply to hold up their children, for the nighttime schoolers, and for the midnight bike riders trying to fly. Shake the dust. This is for the 2-year-olds who cannot be understood because they speak half English and half God. Shake the dust. For the boys with the beautiful sisters, shake the dust. For the girls with the brothers who are going crazy, the ones who are going out of their minds, for those gym class wallflowers, the 12-year-olds afraid of taking public showers, for the kid who's always late to class because he forgets the combination to his lockers, for the girl who loves somebody else, shake the dust. This is for the heart of men who want love, but know that it won't come. For the ones who are forgotten, the ones the amendments do not stand up for the ones who are told, speak only when you are spoken to, and then are never spoken to. Speak every time you stand so you do not forget yourself. Do not let one moment go by that doesn't remind you that your heart beats thousands of times every single day, and that there are enough gallons of blood to make every one of you oceans. Do not settle for letting these waves settle and for the dust to collect in your veins. This is for the celibate pedophile who keeps on struggling, for the poetry teachers, and for the people who go on vacations alone, for the sweat that drips off of Mick Jagger's singing lips, for the shaking skirt on Tina Turner's shaking hips, for the heavens and for the hells through which Tina has lived. This is for the tired and for the dreamers, for the families that will never be like the Cleavers with perfectly made dinners and sons like Wildly and the Beaver. This is for the bigots, for the sexists, for the killers, for the big house jail sentence cats becoming redeemers, and for that springtime that always seems to know to show up after every one of our winters. This is for you. Make sure that by the time the fisherman returns, you are gone. Because just like the days, I burn at both ends. And every time I write, every time I open my eyes, I'm cutting out parts of myself just to give them to you. So shake the dust and take me with you when you do, for none of this has ever been for me. All that pushes and pulls and pushes and pulls, it pushes for you. So grab this world by its clothespins and shake it out again and again and jump on top and take it for a spin. And when you hop off, shake it again. But this is yours. Make my words worth something. Make this more than just another poem that I write, more than just another poem, like just another night that sits heavy above every one of us. Walk into it, breathe it in, let it crash through the halls of your arms like the millions of years of millions of poets coursing like blood, pumping and pushing, making you live, shaking the dust. So when the world knocks at your front door, clutch the knob tightly and open on up. Run as far as you must, as fast as you can, into its widespread greeting arms, with your arms outstretched before you, fingertips trembling, though they may be. Thank you. Thank you all so very much for inviting me to be a part of this. Thank you, Billy, Dr. Roberts, for extending that invitation and for introducing me. It means a lot. And you know, I feel very privileged and fortunate to have grown up in a home and a community that believed in the inherent nobility of every single person. And so having the opportunity to speak to those ideas and that philosophy through my work in circles and audiences and groups of folks that may know that same truth, but may also not have come up with that realization that each of us is inherently noble, is a gift and a blessing. So so thank you for letting me do such. I have just this one last poem for y'all, and thank you. When you're in your coffin, clinging down the river with all the other coffins in the water of the next world, all of them bumping and jostling against one another, the contents thrown about like riding in a small plane, you'll peek your head up to see what the racket is. You'll see the other coffins. Looking around, you'll see nothing but coffins and river and two banks distantly flanking the river, and the biggest, tallest dark stretching above. So dark it feels like this place, big as it is, must be inside some sort of bigger place. But there are still stars. Wherever this river is, you can still see stars. While looking around, you'll see that there are other heads peeking out of their coffins. You yell across the dark, asking, "You know where we are?" And someone will answer back, "No." "You?" "No," you say back. Someone else will say, "What about you?" "No, I wonder where this is." And someone else, "I don't know, but it's big. So big it's vast." And someone else, depending on what part of the river you're on, may also say, "Yeah, vast like the backside of Sean Brown." And even though no one on this river knows who Sean Brown is, people on the river may laugh. The chuckles will subside until a quiet sets in over the laughter, a quiet like you sat down in somebody else's church. And somebody will then say to somebody else, "Where are you from?" And they will say, "Texas. What about you?" "Boston." "Boston?" "Yeah, Boston. I know someone from Boston. Kate Lee. You know her?" "No." "What about Stephen Ellis?" "Nah, I'm actually in Somerville." "Somerville?" "Yeah, Somerville." And someone else will then yell out, "Somerville? I know someone in Somerville." "Yeah? Who?" "Nick Cathcart. You know him?" "I do. Yeah? Oh man, small world. Yeah, Nicky's a great guy. He is. I hadn't seen him in 5-10 years. And when I did, he had a first edition of an E.E. Cummings book to give me. Great guy." And the first person may or may not know who E.E. Cummings is, but will still agree that yes, Nicky is a great guy. And then it will get quiet again until someone else asks, "Where is it that we are?" And no one will answer. A few people shrug. All of you will look into the stars that are collecting overhead. You'll try to think of someone you might know that lives in Somerville or Texas or Florida or France, just to have something to talk about with a person you never met before, just right now. Just to share something in the dark quiet, even though all of you are already sharing the river and the sound of the current bumping all of you into one another. And you'll wonder where this water is taking you and how long it will be before it brings you there and what there will be like. If it'll be like here on the river with all of us sitting in our boxes, trying to split the dark by sharing our voice with others. If it'll be like how it was in the world before this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anis. Thank you. What a wonderful program. Thought-provoking and humorous and clearly in line with our mission as Rotarians. So thank you very much. I hope you can maybe sense that we're putting our hands together to say, as we say thank you. Really appreciate it. And Anis, as a token of our appreciation, we are sending you a gift box of maple products that come from Quebec and the various states covered by our districts. And we hope you'll enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you so much. Friends, look, we're so happy that so many of you joined us tonight. the president-elects and assistant governors will continue our work tomorrow, beginning at 6:30 p.m. You'll receive the links for tomorrow's session in your email in the morning. Also, please look for a survey that will arrive in your email. We would like to hear from you each day about the program. Not to worry, it's very brief and to the point, but we would appreciate your input. I think I just want to say our program this evening was so wonderful. I'm so grateful to Valerie Wafer and to Carmetta and to Anis Mojgani for really spending the time and really inspiring us and giving us a wonderful send-off for our training sessions. This now ends our program this evening. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.